Hello and welcome to Portia, Raw and Real, the podcast where we get to go just a little deeper, a little more raw, a little more real with some of the guests that you see every day on Portia. And we absolutely, no doubt about it, had to bring Derrick Hayes back after our conversation about the importance of second chances, making the most of them. But the thing that we wanted to talk with you more about, Derrick, and thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. You are, your second chance is incredible what you've done with it, but how intentional you have been about making sure that others learn how to make the most of their second chances. And if they can, avoid the fact where you got to end up in a second chance to make it right.
Yeah, and sometimes you gotta have a third chance, as long as you don't stop fighting. Because sometimes, you know, that second chance is kind of warming you up.
Yeah.
And the third shot, you already know everything about it. But sometimes you don't get that third shot. Sometimes you gotta do it the second time. And that's what I've been learning. You know, me coming from West Philly, you know, wanting to start my life over, the second chance was like something, my first chance was like, it showed me everything. This time
Explain.
I'm not
Explain for folks who don't know the backstory of the young Derrick who was in West Philly, trying to make a way, find a way.
I just kept hitting brick walls. You know, every time it's like you're trying to do something right, something wrong come around the corner. Or you get in the wrong car, or you go with the wrong person. So like, for example, if I wasn't able to be the person I am now, I wasn't able to see what I had before me. Like when I left Philly, I could look at people and say, you know, this is not for me. These things are going to get me in trouble, and still wind up doing it because I'm in that environment.
Right.
You know, you're in that box, but when you get out of that box, it allows you to see with a clear-eyed view.
Let's go back to that box though, Derrick, because that box is what gets so many young people and so many young brothers. I mean, everybody gets hemmed up in the box, but sometimes we don't know how to find our way back.
Why do you think they call it the trap?
Yeah.
You know, we use it in, you know, in our analogy for our culture, you know, like we in a trap.
Right.
No, you really are in the trap.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a trap that you're in, the box that you're in.
You are locked in.
Yes, you're locked in because, for one, as a young kid, you'll come home from school, you're in your community, you're inside the four walls, like I like to call business, right? And then these are the people that you deal with every single day. Everybody is kind of piggybacking off each other with no resources. So how can you get out the trap? There's no resource to let you out the box.
Nobody can find the way.
Who got the key?
Yeah.
And the key is your mindset. That's the only key you have, you know, and you have to say, you know what? It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but I'm going to use the key in my mind to get me out of this. And what I did was I just changed my atmosphere. I got around everything that made me uncomfortable. You know, and that was different races. I've been around my own people my whole life, and I've never seen anything different.
Chuck D said if you can't change the people around you, you got to change the people around you.
You have to, because this is the thing, right? I don't want to be around people when I'm dreaming. They scared of my dreams. Behind me, they whispering me, calling me
like,
crazy.
What is he thinking? How he going to do that? What you mean?
I want around people, look, when we talking about the dreams, you're like, I want to do it too. So that is what drives you to want to do more. But when you're around people that say, you can't do it, or, hey, he crazy, all you want to talk about is this and that. Those are the people that's going to keep you in that trap. So
how do you, when you, give me an actionable strategy for folks, maybe the moms and dads who are watching and trying to help their kids get out the box and use the mindset. How do you pull away or push away, especially because some of those jokers are going to be pulling at you?
Yeah, I was about to say, well, in order to put yourself in a different atmosphere, your mindset has to change, right? And how you trick your mindset is doing this, right? Say, for example, if you was a kid looking at an athlete on TV or somebody that you aspire to be, you have to go back and look at the things that they did to get there. Whether that's, if you're a basketball player, I'm in practice all day, but I'm just not learning how to shoot the ball. I'm learning who invented basketball. I'm learning how to be able to do the ins and out of learning, like the description of it and just not the sport.
What the coaches are looking at.
And that's what Kobe was good at. That's what Peyton Manning was good at. That's what Tom Brady's good at. And now that's what Jalen Hurts is good at.
That's what Jalen Hurts is good at now. Congratulations.
Because, you know, we gotta. You read the offense.
Yeah.
You read the defense. Like if you're a quarterback, you're looking at the lineman right now and saying, okay, that guy's about to blitz me from the left side. He's coming through the middle. Well, that's the same way you take your everyday life. If you're somebody that wants to get out of the trap, you have to look at the people who is trying to attack you. Like, who's coming to get me when I'm trying to do good? Who's the person that's always trying to talk down on me when I'm talking right? Who's the person that's trying to change my ideas when my mindset is going forward? Those are the people that you have to get away from. So when they're trying to blitz me, I'm reading the blitz. I'm staying away from them.
I feel like I'm on the field with you now with a bunch of salmon cheesesteaks around me. But anyway, that said, once you make those decisions, right, because the next part, you're out the box. But then there are folks is sometimes when things get uncomfortable outside the box, you're like, let me just go back to my boys in the box. What was the deciding moment for you when it was hard and you could have gone back to the box, but you were like, no, I gotta get past, is it getting past the fear? Is it building up the confidence? What helps you stay on track?
When you get a touch of a level of success, when you taste it, it's an addiction. I don't think you want to go back to the trap when you get a level of, you know, you don't have to get a high level of success. You can just taste a little bit and, you know, you can say you're doing the right thing. But what I do want to talk about before I answer your question is when you get to the level of success to get out of the trap, then you got the people who are afraid of you because you didn't do it like them. And what I mean like that is, do you deserve to sit at the table?
Yeah.
The gatekeepers, because you didn't grow up the way they grew up. You don't have the degrees that they have. You don't hold the level of expectation.
Have you seen a lot of intimidation? And what does that look like when they're gatekeeping, but you're at the table? So it's like, well, I'm here. I got the money. I'm about to buy this.
I'm going to be very humbly when I say this to you, Portia. Nobody can gatekeep me. Because when I sit at any table, when the tongue and the ability that God gave me in my voice and my mind and was going to speak from my gut, you're going to have to listen. I don't need you to like it, but you're going to listen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get my point across because when I'm at that table, I don't need you to make me a plate. I'm already sitting there with you.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't get me in that room. You sit in that leather chair, and I'm sitting right with you beside it. And just because you might have a different level of expectations of who you think you are and who you think I am, the world has got me sitting at the table with you.
At the
so
same
somebody,
table,
you know,
about to write the same checks.
Yes, exactly. So I think for me, how I got here with my 40-something tattoos on my body, it's just me being real. I think a lot of people, they're not authentic enough to themselves. They want to be authentic to people, but lie to themselves. How can right now I tell you what I want to be and all my hopes and dreams and then get in from around you and do totally different opposite of everything I told you I would do?
Right.
I didn't lie to you. I lied to myself. You know, and when you lie to yourself, it's going to keep you in that trap that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But most importantly,
because eventually the lies tell on you too.
Yeah, and
because you can't keep up the front.
Yeah, but a lot of people are scared of their own power. Like right now,
What
right?
do you mean?
I watched you start this show early on, right?
Yeah, thank you.
And when I first seen you on this show, I said she's going to be great at this. But you know what made you great at it even more? Is every time I came here, I seen different backgrounds. I seen your set changing.
Man.
That's like me building restaurants. My restaurants have to look better each time I build them to show people I'm scaling something.
Yeah.
Like, so every time you see somebody, even if somebody see me and I ain't dressed that day and I could be tired, however they see me, that's the perception they're going to put on me until I say, oh, no, I'm building my empire. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because now I'm letting you know, you may see me with bags in my eyes. You may catch me undressed. You may catch me with stuff all over me, but I'm working towards something much greater than what you think of me.
Right.
You know, so and I think when you stand in a world like that, nothing can stop you.
I want to go back to Derrick at a gas station. Selling, because it was not snow cones.
Yeah.
Ice, water, ice.
I'm about to school you.
School me again.
I'm about to take you to school.
And then I want the lesson from learning how to rebrand and then having just the right thing to put in Eve's hand. Tell me that story.
First, I want to start out with saying nobody in Atlanta will rent me a space. Well, at least me a space nowhere. So I'm a young kid with a bunch of money when I came to Atlanta, no business experience, but I just want to change my life. This is why it's important for somebody to give you a chance, because it's just like going to a dealership and you don't have no credit and you got money. They're going to say, do you have residual income? We can't give you this car. So it's the same thing with business. When you don't have experience, who's ever going to give you an opportunity? Right. But when you come out of school and you got this big education with no resume, who's going to give you the job?
Right.
So I was going around and everybody was telling me no. Everybody was telling me no. And to be honest, I had this one person that was going to let me lease a space in Virginia Islands. And I got right to sign the lease. It was a husband and wife, and they said, you know, I'm sorry. We decided to go with a more experienced candidate. It broke my heart, right? But let me tell you, later on that day, I went on LoopNet. And then I seen this gas station, 5020 Winter Chapel Road. And it was this Indian guy's name was Mike. And he was like, hey, you ever ran a company before? And I was honest with him. I said no, but I got experience in believing in myself. And I ain't going to quit at.
That's it.
And you know, from that day forward, I started this company. and I'm thinking I'm about to open the doors and everybody about to be coming in and buying. So I open the doors and I ain't got one customer all day. I mean, I only got one. I ain't got one customer. Next day, same thing, no customers. And then the next day, I remember this lady walking. Well, she didn't walk in. Her kids ran in because they seen the water ice and the ice cream. And she grabbed them and snatched them out the store. And like, you know, I'm like, damn, nobody want to support me. Am I in the wrong area? And then I had people in my ear telling me, you know, this ain't Atlanta. You went to Dunwoody. Like, they ain't going to support you here like they going to support you in Atlanta. And you know what? I took that as a challenge because I just want to show people that I am not just African-American black man. I'm a good man. I'm a good representation of what I'm trying to bring to this community.
I'm a businessman.
Yes, and I'm a businessman, most of all. But, you know, when I had the opportunity with Eve, it was literally like, if I choke right here, it's over for me.
So you had to know she was coming, right?
Yes, I didn't know.
You did not know?
No. So I knew that she was coming in the beginning, but I did not know the day she came. Because when she was supposed to come, she didn't show up. So now,
okay.
And all my obstacles in my life, Portia, like, I don't know. I'm like, God, I think you like to stress me out sometimes. Because it's
challenge
like,
you, turning tests
just
into
like
tests.
to challenge me because it'd be something like right in front of my face that I could just grab it, like, okay, it's going to happen. And then it'll go to the left on me. And that day I was waiting for her, I really needed her to come because I couldn't make payroll that Friday. Business was really slow. I really just didn't know what I was going to do. I'm like, you know, I took my last money and put it in this business. Like, now what's going to happen? And, you know, I didn't want to seem like I fell with my daddy's name. You know what I'm saying? And it was like something that was like real stressful to me. And let me tell you something. You never give up on anything you're doing because you never know when that person actually going to help you out. And that same week, she walked in that door and she walked in just like a Philly girl, too. She was like, hey, is it a real cheesesteak in here? And I'm like, definitely a real cheesesteak in here.
Stand by while I show you.
But again, listen, you could practice every single day. If you're not ready to shoot the ball, you will always be a practice player. And I never wanted to be a practice player. So while I was making that chicken cheesesteak, like, I'm sitting there talking to myself, my inner self, like, you better not choke.
You better not choke. You got it.
And then when I went to go give it to her, honestly, when I gave it to her with confidence. I gave it to her like this.
Yeah,
too,
like.
I felt good about it.
Yeah.
And when I gave it to her, she went. And she shook her head. You know that head nod is
right.
good. She did that head nod real quick. And she said, oh, y'all can order. She said, this is good. And you know, I didn't ask her to post anything on none of her social media platforms.
Oh, wow. And what year was this?
This was 2015.
Wow.
And I'm talking about
That's
this when
10 years ago,
Instagram
Derrick.
just really started popping. This is when Facebook was like really still new. But the thing most of all, man, you know, is women, honestly, in my career, has been the forefront of helping me scale. Nothing against men, but I'm intimidated.
But we're going to, I get that.
No, I am.
And we want to cheer, like we always want to cheer for young brothers.
Yeah.
And I guess things can be a little bit more competitive sometimes.
I mean, you know, no shade to the brothers, but, you know, even today, it's people that could have helped me, you know, get to certain points, but they didn't because they was afraid for me to get further. But let me tell you something. This is not a race. You know, this is something what's for you is going to be for you.
It's a collaboration.
Yes.
It is not a competition.
No,
there's
you know,
room for everybody at the table. When we run out, we build another table.
Sometimes we don't seem to understand that because we're so worried about people stroking our own egos that we miss the opportunity of saying, you're a good person because you put that person on. You put that person on. Like, that's what I want the world to remember me as. Like, when I'm dead and gone, when I go in the history books, it's not when and if. I am going. When I go in the history books, they're going to talk about a young kid from the ghetto of West Philly with no business experience, with only a high school diploma, scaling to $1 billion company. And not because I wanted to make the money, it's because you told me I couldn't have it.
Right.
And when you tell me I can't have something, Derrick Hayes, I'm going to go get it. And that's how I was raised.
Before, speaking of how you were raised, I don't want to run out of time here to talk about the role your father had in your legacy of growth, building, and generational wealth.
I don't even know if my father, you know, my father dead and gone right now, but my father didn't realize how much influence he had on my life. You know, I look at my son right now, and sometimes I'm locked in the business, and sometimes he want to play. And I feel bad sometimes because I can't lock in with him. And I go back to my dad in those moments like, nah, put this down for a second and lock in. Because let me tell you, a kid is a sponge, right? And I was a sponge. I'm watching my dad go to work Monday through Friday to take care of family. I know how to provide for my family because I watched my father do it. I know how to be a leader. I know how to be a king because I was raised from kings. You know what I'm saying? I was raised on how to treat people.
How important is it for young people to understand that, though? If we don't know our history, I know it sounds cliche, but if you don't know and believe that, it's hard to walk out with the fortitude of a man who knows, I come from kings.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, right? And I agree with that, but I was raised by kings, but I was never taught how to love. I was taught how to provide. And a lot of people don't talk about that. Like, I never, I knew my father loved me dearly. I know my grandfather loved me dearly. But they never told me this, So these are things that I got to take up for myself. And you know what I see, my son? I grab my son and I hug him. I say, I love you. I need him to hear that.
Yeah.
Because me as a grown man, I still needed to hear that. So now that helps me now with my son. And by the way, my son was born on my father's death day. Those type of things don't happen. Like, I literally used to cry on July 6th every year, worst day of my life. And now I got to say happy birthday. It's my daughter's birthday today. My daughter Demon, she turned 9 today.
Nice.
So I got, 3 girls and 2 boys. I got to start. Listen, God don't make mistakes, but I just tell you, I wanted to be a basketball player, right? You need five people on the team.
You need
right?
and you've got.
I got my team.
You got a whole team, man.
You know what I'm saying? God gave me my starting 5, and my starting 5 is my kids.
Yeah.
So now I get to say who the point guard, who the center.
And you have, you and your wife and business partner, life partner, have created businesses for them. Like, they are learning how to run businesses. Even though my July 6th baby, my birthday baby, is still young, you guys have started this early. How important is it for parents to make sure, even if you don't have $1 million business?
Yeah, it's important.
As we wrap up here.
It's important because I'm going to tell you why. Because 2 weeks ago, my daughter Dallas, she calls me and she said, Dad, me and my friend in school, we started a company.
How old is the oldest one now?
She's 10.
Okay.
And she's like, I started a company, but I need you to help me with the name. When I was 10 years old, guess what Daddy was doing? Daddy was selling bean pies in Philadelphia newspapers and shoveling payments. Your kid is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to say, you got to be an entrepreneur. You got to be a business person. They're going to see it naturally. Even if they don't want to be that, nobody won't be able to take advantage of them in life because they watch mommy and daddy throughout the years read P&Ls, talk about EBITDA. It's going to be embedded into their brain to know what that means.
Yeah.
And for me, I just told you, I watched my father work Monday through Friday. I didn't have to understand that my dad had a dime in a bank account or in his pocket. I seen a man go out every day and chase. How can I sit in the house?
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
The lessons, as we wrap up here, the lessons in love. You talked about learning how to provide but not to love.
Yeah.
That's so important for people to hear the difference.
What
are you telling your daughters and your sons as they get older about being able to be present as a person who loves?
Well, no disrespect to women, but I was raised to only a woman can love me, not provide for me, because this is the thing. My grandma raised all of me, my cousins, how to wash clothes, how to cook, how to clean, right? My daughters, a man will never be able to show my daughter anything when it comes to buying them anything. Only love is going to do that. Because they're going to say, oh, Daddy already showed me that. Daddy already did that. I already been to that country. I already been to that place. Because these are things that we get tricked out of in relationships because you get bought into thinking that love is with money.
Is the material
provision. The material provision of love don't represent that word.
Yeah.
It just represents the feeling that you get from it.
It does not represent the soul.
It's not tangible. Because when it's gone, are you still going to love me the same way?
Yeah.
So I'm teaching my kids to actually know the difference between something I'm giving you to make me feel good and just giving me a hug when I ain't giving you nothing.
Right, right. When you just need the safe place to land at the end of a tough day or a bunch of business trips. You and Pinky have built quite an empire, but balance has been so important. And I love how on social media you're both very candid about the hard times, but it's also good to see those good times. How do you maintain the balance so that the good times outweigh the challenges of being in business?
I think the bad times is the beauty of good times.
Tell me more.
Because if you don't have bad times, how you ever know when something feels good? Like, it's like you have to see something that's challenging to know that you should love it and respect it. That's like right now, if somebody right now give you $10 million freely, you're going to spend it freely. But if you work for it, you're gonna hold on to it. You're gonna put it in the market. You're gonna let your money work for you. So it's different things that, like, I look at things when it comes to that. I think it's important for people to understand that God has everyone's story already written. You just have to go out there and go get it, and it's not gonna be easy. Nothing easy will last. Everything hard work will last forever when you dead and gone because you worked for it and you earned it and you know how it feels not to have it.
Derrick Hayes, God got you out of a box.
Yes,
and
he
you've
did.
been obedient to God's will.
Yes.
And I know that there have been so many lessons you have learned. So I hate to do what's the best lesson, but I have to thank you because on the show with Tamara Moody,
Yes.
you got to go check that out, PortiaShow.com, where Professor Derrick, as I call her, shared a lot of advice for a woman who's getting to take the most of a second chance, having done some time in federal.
Yes.
And then now she's got a food truck. But I would like the lasting message, if they heard nothing else, about how important it is to just stick to what God has for you, but to keep acting too. You can't just lay there and think, okay, God, I'm waiting for you to bless me. Faith without works is dead.
So for me, I understand that you can't have too many people to be loyal to you. Because God had 12 disciples and one disowned him. So what you why you special? Why you think you can have 12 people around you to treat you right?
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of people can look at me and say, hey man, you got all this going on. Why you ain't out doing this and that? You want to sit in your backyard. When I'm sitting in my backyard, I'm thinking, I'm praying, I'm thinking about how I'm going to keep elevating my life. So what I'm going to answer to you is this. It takes willpower and self-control and belief and patience.
Willpower, self-control, belief, and patience. Willpower, self-control, belief, and patience. I'm saying that so you can go back and write it down.
Because if you don't have those things, those tools, you can't fix yourself. It's like a car. If your tire blow out right now, if you don't got that tire on to take your tire off, how can I change the flat? If I don't have the jack to the car, how can I lift it up?
Yeah.
So if I can't lift my own spirit up, how can I lift yours up? I have to be okay with myself, and right now I'm okay with the way I live. I don't need nobody else to live my life for me and understand that.
Yeah.
So if anybody is watching this, I think you need to be the best you and learn you first before you learn somebody else. We get tricked on social media all day. 95% of it is cap. And then you trying to figure out what am I doing wrong? Like, how can I change my life?
Why don't I should be doing that. I'm this age.
Everything right. It's just not your time. You have to keep working. Listen, let me tell you something. You've been doing this show for years now, right? I guarantee you this.
This is season 3.
Listen, remember
yeah,
I told you.
You came in season 1.
Remember I told you this. It's going to be a time when you get a call and say, it's time. It's your time now. And you're going to say, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, I remember I said that. Because you know why? They can't block what's for you. When the people want what you got, you're going to be on the big screens the way you want to be on them. I started on a 3-foot grill and a broken fryer. And I'm nationally known right now with the amount of restaurants I have because I'm using my voice and I'm showing people that you don't have to be perfect to get there.
Yeah.
And everybody think they gotta be perfect to get there. The imperfections is gonna make people love you. They want to see the struggles. They have to feel what you feel to actually love you. They have
to be able to relate.
They can't be up in the mansion and looking at. They don't have that. So how can they feel that? They have to know where you was at when you was here, so they can gravitate and grab you and learn how to do the things that you did.
Thank you for taking us there. Thank you for taking us back to West Philly. Thank you for taking us to the restaurant with the guy who said, you ever run a business? My business is believing in myself.
Yes.
My last question, just so people can find you, just give us a rundown all the way down the Eastern Corridor through Atlanta, where your restaurants are now.
Okay, so I'm going to start with, I got a grand opening coming in South Carolina.
Oh, congratulations. What city?
1st. South Carolina, March 1st in Columbia.
Okay.
My first franchise location. And then I got another one that same month and another one at the end of that month. My franchise locations. But I got South Carolina, of course Atlanta, Orlando. Yes. Florida is like really loving Big Dave's right now. So,
that's good.
You know, listen.
And didn't you, you're in Baltimore?
Baltimore coming.
Baltimore's coming. I thought I saw you talking about that.
I did a pop-up. Baltimore want me so bad.
Okay,
But let me just tell you this before we hang up real quick. So listen at this.
I love that you said before we hang up.
Yeah, before we hang up, because we're gonna hang this conversation up. But it was somebody that walked up to me years ago. She's probably gonna get mad at me for saying this.
Well, don't say it.
No,
well, don't say her name.
No, I'm not gonna say her name.
Okay, go ahead.
But I wanna tell you the story because she's special to me. So she's like that person. Like I don't like to say prophet, but she's somebody special to me, right? So I was in Athens where I went to school at, and I was on a food truck pop up, and she walked over to me and said, "Give me your hand." And I'm like, "Give you my hand," and I gave her my hand anyway. And she said, "Walk with me." She told me every single thing that was going to happen in my life that's happening right now.
Was it an older sister?
She's an older lady,
woman? Yeah.
right? But check this out. every time I would leave my grandmother's house on the school bus, it was this little brown house I was always looking at and say, who house is that? And it was that lady's. And that lady, she'll send me a text message every time something about to happen in my life. And something happens.
It is so good to have wise counsel and people who are the intercessors.
We have angels on earth, people, so believe that, because I had one in my corner, and I'm going to tell you right now, she ain't been wrong. She said 2024 was going to be my scaling year, and I made Big Dave's look totally different from 23. And 25, it's going to look a lot different.
Cheers to scaling years, brother.
Yes,
so acceptable.
You're getting that big call. Remember I told you that?
You did. I will. And when I get it.
You're going to, listen, we're going to go back to this episode right here.
It's time for some this episode and some salmon. Some salmon Phillies. Thank you so much, Derrick Hayes. I'm just so grateful every time we get to have a lesson class with Professor Derrick Hayes. Thanks so much for watching Portia, Raw and Real. Be sure to go check out the episode and the conversation we did about being a father. That was season 1, season 2. Listen, at this point, I think you can just Google Portia Bruner and Derrick Hayes, and all the shows will come up.
I'm available for a co-host soon.
You got the job, man. You got the job. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Portia, weekdays in Atlanta, Orlando, San Francisco. Streams nightly on Foxhole. Thanks so much for watching, folks. We'll see you next time.